Hi, Craig Lane here with Large Intestine Cleanse. We're going to go into slide 15 now, and it's just a little tiny reminder, and it doesn't take much to realize that we're made up of a lot of cells, and some of the 60 trillion, maybe more than that, are microbial, and so regeneration and rebuilding, we want to feed the good guys and not put the stuff in the previous slide which feeds the pathogens. I believe, like some of the things they talk about in the Star Trek movies about temporal consciousness and temporal parasitic entities, we have entities that are subtle, and I believe they have their counterpart perhaps on planet Earth in terms of pathogens and things that are invented in a consciousness that is not from nature, but a man or a woman thinking, I know what is best. This chemical and these chemicals put together will generate life. And it's a bit like starting with something dead, like a rock, and trying to infuse movement into it. Because there are those who believe that rocks actually do have consciousness. So slide 15 is kind of about, good work. You're now regenerating and rebuilding more than you were before if you followed the program of the cleanse. Slide 16 is how to skillfully reintegrate your normal life. And, a lot of people talk about, I'll be happy then. A lot of the consciousness around the cleanse and fasting and ascetic things are, I'll be happy when it's all done. Or sitting in meditation used to be some of my things. I used to write poems about, oh, I'll be happy when this silent sitting period is over, or I'll be happy in traffic when I can get past that car, or I'll be happy when that cloud passes and stop raining on me anymore. And so keep in mind of the stories that we tell ourselves and follow the guidelines previously given on this PowerPoint and as we move forward about food, and then monitor when you feel tempted and really check in when you feel tempted to leave the moment. Part of my work lately has been, it's been really easy to check out, and so one of my ways has just been to stay close to myself and sleep and not move out of the house much, even though at times the distractions of the world are easy to come by. These are foundational things. Next, are these self-care items in order? And I'm not going to go through them now because they're foundational, but you should read them. How's your breathing? Remember, this is the large intestine cleanse, and its paired organ is the lung. By helping one, we help the other. So by breathing more, I need to in-breathe more. And so by in-breathing more, I'm more here. Some people need to out-breath more and let go. And don't shame yourself when you give in. Even during the cleanse, I had a number of times where I was talking to my partner this morning, about she didn't do a very good cleanse, and that's okay. She did the best she could, and there were things in the social world that were drawing her away, and we do cleansing pretty much every 3 months these days. Not that we're that, cleansing is not fasting, so keep that in mind if you're doing this and you're not part of the normal group that's doing this cleanse right now, online kind of thing. Slide 17 is just basically a graphic depiction of, on the bottom left there, you'll see the small intestine, large intestine, the folds, and then on the right end, the numbers 1 and 2 next to that tube that's the food, and number 2 is the sludge. Number 1 is the food passing along that's sludgy like a Cinnabon. Imagine chewing up raw wheat flour in your mouth and then swallowing it, or pouring wheat flour in your sink and then pouring water over it and then noticing like the sludge builds up, and that's what happens in our intestines, and that's the number 2 there, and that's the toxic biofilm because things will feed on that. Slide 18 is what happens during the cleanse, so congratulations. Number 1 is the tube, and number 2 is the food getting sloughed off, the old slime or the rubber, as you've seen, and some of you have seen. If you haven't, I'm definitely open to sending a PowerPoint of all the different types of slime that comes out of people, and even rubbery stuff. Slide 19 is the number 1 is the gut lining, and number 2 is the sludge coming off, and that's what happens if people have these long strands of mucus or long strands of biofilm. My latest round this time around was black tar in the toilet, and I was exposed to paint and chemicals about a month ago in an office move, and so my 2 symptoms this time around were nausea and headaches, along with some secondary symptoms of hot flashes and dizziness when it got really bad. But part of that was stress related, because when there's stress excessively, we can't renew our gut lining, and then the gut lining begins to get leaky, and things leak into the bloodstream that cause those symptoms. So it all goes back to the gut, folks, so keep that in mind. Slide 20 This is another view, a more detailed view. So we go from 19 to 20, it's a more detailed view. And you can see on the far bottom right how important it is that each one of those cells, out of the trillions and trillions of those, if you go to the left, you'll see that there's a little thing there that says enterocytes. And then you see on the middle how the enterocytes are born at the bottom of each of those villi. And then you can see how they slough off. And then in the far right, you can see how important it is to have a good afro of hair. If this is one hair right here, then that hair has hundreds of little enzymes on it, or potential for enzymes on it. And you can see how, if that's unhealthy, the way those cells are rebuilt from bad nutrition and toxic waste and poor pathogens have taken over the body, then you're not going to have much absorption. Slide 21. You found your way out of the toxic stress cycle in any way that you can, even if it's only 1%. And read through those 4 things. It's very important. And then if you want discussion, you can get some. Slide 22 is another example of this moving on kind of thing. And that's, it's never too late to leave where you've been. And look at that barren plane this person's on. Look at where they've come from. And then there's this doorway into the unknown. And there's some part of us that's, in the work of Abraham Hicks, they talk about our vortex, or there's part of our, I could call it our soul or spirit, is ahead of us in physical form, and that's the part that's already moved on, and it's beckoning us. And the more lack of ease or tension we feel in ourselves, the more that we're not lined up with that which has moved forward. In other words, our dreams in a way have a life of their own. If we're not living out our dreams, then we're going to feel tension inside. And please, if you're doing this online, we offer a very low introductory price. As a matter of fact, there are very few cleanses offered such as these where you get product and you get some instruction, personal instruction, and it's just very general though. If you need more, then you schedule an appointment with us. We do Skype, and we can do a lot of ways to interface that are very low cost and make it within the realm of your healthcare plan. And then slide 23 is our continuing with the Celtic logos, me with a Celtic ancestry partially. This is one of the examples of the unity of life, and this is an example here of the logo, at least, is of how all things are connected. And you'll see drawings of this sort with a central body, synergy, and then things off in the periphery, such even this has a border where each of the 4 corners of the border has a sort of logo or design. And if you would like to see more of this, read about the alchemists, and you can even search on Google Images under the Emerald Tablet. And some of the Native American medicine wheels, you'll see a lot of the yin-yang signs, the Jewish star, even the Nazi sign has, they're all based in things in the past about the unity of life and the unity of nature. So keep that moving forward, and congratulations. I think we should all pat ourselves on the back for entering this cleanse and really following it through. And look for better and newer versions of all my cleanses. We have all the 4 organ systems of the 5 elements offered through my office now on my website. You can just inquire. And we have a kidney, bladder, adrenal cleanse. We have a liver, gallbladder cleanse now. We have small intestine and large intestine cleanses, purging each of the 4 elements. And then the 5th element, the earth element, is dealt with in each of those 4. So namaste, and it's been a pleasure serving you in your journey of health.